Leaves his feet, dumps down to Caron Butler. Butler with a step back from 17. He's got another one. Caron Butler nailing his third field goal in 5 attempts. 6 points in 6 minutes, and it's 37-36.
Rondo in the deep corner, on top to Caron Butler, gives to Collison. Collison wiggling with a dribble. Sealed off by LeBron, goes to Butler, has to rush the three. He's got the triple, and he's fouled. Caron Butler from the deep left wing right in front of the Kings bench, and hearing it from Kings fans. Aaron Collison with the dribble straight away, now lobs to Rudy. Rudy on the left side, splits defenders into the paint, dumps it out to Butler, straight away 21-footer, drills it. Way to go, Juice.
It's great to hear highlights called by the G-Man Gary Gerald, and it's great to keep up catching up with the Kings. And today we catch up with one-time King Caron Butler joining us this morning on The Drive. Caron, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. In spite of everything, just, staying home in quarantine and spending a lot of time with, my family and loved ones.
Well, good for you on that part. Let's start with that. I mean, this is unique to all of us. We've never lived or been through any of this. How are you passing the time? Any fun family activities you guys are doing?
Yeah, always. My wife always keep us, busy and occupied with a ton of board games, anything from Uno to Monopoly to, the game of life. And just going outside and just, having a little fun in the yard, man, playing basketball games, horse, you name it. Just maximizing our space and doing a ton of conditioning stuff to keep ourselves busy and occupied.
Caron, when I found out you were coming on, and I want to encourage everybody, if you haven't read Tough Juice, if you don't know Caron's story, you got to educate yourself because it's an amazing one. I wanted to ask you kind of a different question than we've asked other people when we say, what are you doing through all this? To say you had a rough go of it early on is an understatement. And with everybody or most people being homebound, one of the effects we don't really talk about is these kids who normally rely on sports, playing down at the playground, doing this stuff to kind of keep them out of trouble. When you think about everything that's going on, do you go back to when you were young and how basketball touched you? And do you kind of worry about some of these kids finding those avenues in this situation to kind of keep them on a positive track and informed?
Yeah, basketball saved my life. It literally did. And it gave me something to do, and it, gave me a gateway and something to escape from, the streets and adversity and gangs and all the stuff that I was dealing with at the time. But when I look at, this virus right now and the way it's spreading, the only thing and comfort that it gives me is that, the social distance thing. You're not going to go to gatherings or be around gatherings, whether it's, things in the streets and stuff like that, is because, you don't want to become, vulnerable to this virus. However, I still feel like, when you look at South Beach, when you look at spring break, when you see some of the things, young people are, caught up in this, this ideal, this concept that, they're stronger and they're bigger than the virus and they can, conquer it and, continue to live life as they always did or what they was accustomed to. So I do worry about those aspects of it. I do worry about, a lot of young people not taking this thing serious as they should and practicing social distancing and things like that. But however, I spent the night last night, we pray for everyone, pray for our family, pray for, understanding through these hard times and these rough times. And, hopefully, we get past this thing sooner than later.
Talking with Caron Butler, ex-King, with us here. And Caron, you're currently broadcasting, so you've played in the league, obviously, for a long time, had a great career, and then you were working when the league shut down, and the league, NBA was the first to do this, might be one of the first back. Who knows when that time will come. What do you think of the NBA's role and how forward-thinking they really were once they found out, obviously, about Rudy Gobert being the first NBA player to contract the virus?
Look, I was proud of the association. I was proud of Adam. I was proud of the Board of Governors. I was proud of, the ownership in the league. It's you got to always think the players first, and some instances when you have businesses and the product go bad, it's like we're not going to put a bad product on the court. They're not going to put a bad substance out there. And Adam looked at the humane part of this whole situation and saw that some of the players was exposed to this virus and you didn't want to, expose others. And you think about the contact and the family and it living on surfaces more than 9 hours or whatever the case may be, and it can easily get spreaded throughout our association and throughout the brotherhood. And not only that, the fan base is very strong, and as you come on to the court and you're coming to watch your favorite player, your player don't want to cheat you out the experience. He's going to be there. He's going to be out there playing hard for you. He's going to sign autographs. The transmission of passing a pen to a fan or a hug or a selfie or something like that. The limitless ways that this thing can just kind of travel and be exposed to person to person was just so many unknowns. So it was a great job by Adam and all the guys, that participated in this shutting it down. And that's when I knew that the magnitude of this thing was extremely serious, because for the NBA to shut down and then the domino effect of the NCAA, stepping up finally for the first time in a long time, or probably ever, stepping down and putting the quality of, the impact of, the students and the athlete first, that meant a lot to me as well. So then it was just a huge domino effect.
Caron Butler joining us. Caron, we as fans had so much fun with you here in Sacramento. I want to ask you more of a lighter question. Then I have a follow-up. So one of the anecdotes I remember, and I think this is true, you and Mountain Dew had a thing for a long time. And the late, great legend, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, actually, as I remember it, was very obsessed with getting you to kick Mountain Dew. So my question is, how are we doing with Mountain Dew, and then how are we doing with chewing on straws? Are both of those still in your life?
Hey, listen, straws is, it comes and goes. It comes in waves, man. Like, as far as the Mountain Dew, I'm done. I'm officially done. And
how'd you do it?
Hey, bro, listen, when Kobe got on my ass about that, I just said, you know what, I'm done. So I'm saying, I went back to it a few times, but, like, in all seriousness, like this past probably 2 years, I haven't touched one, not even got close to one, and not even thought about buying or purchasing one. And then when everything happened, early 2020, I talked to my brother probably a week prior to that whole incident, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not even looking at a Mountain Dew going forward, man. Like, that's my commitment and, my promise to him, so I'm staying away from that stuff.
So my follow-up, and just so people understand, if you don't know the story, and again, I'm pretty sure this anecdote is correct, it wasn't like Caron was having like 3 Mountain Dews a day. He was having like 12, waking up in the middle of the night. I mean, it was a real deal thing. The follow-up is this, Caron. I also read that your straws of choice were from McDonald's. And I just want to know what goes into the McDonald's. What is it about the McDonald's straw that made it preferable over, say, an In-N-Out straw, a Burger King straw, or a Carl's Jr. straw?
Man, the texture of all the straws are different, right? Because, I've been in the franchise business for a long time, and, even now I'm in the juicing business, and we own a couple juice buds out here in California. And the straws are, you may have the black straws with like a strong texture. You may have a flavor to it because, that's just what they do when they make these things, right? But with the McDonald's straws, it's a certain texture, it's a certain feel, it's a certain size of it that is just perfect for chewing. If you get my drift, if you ever chewed on anything, it's just perfect. And I grew up watching my grandfather fix on cars. And as he working on transmissions and the motors and stuff like that, he always had a toothpick in his mouth. So that's where that comes from. People are like, why you always got to have something in your mouth? Well, I put a toothpick in my mouth. It didn't work quite well when I was playing basketball. So I put a straw in there, and I was able to chew it and still not get poked or anything like that. So that's what I resorted to, and then it just became like a crazy habit and something that I did for years and years.
Well, Caron, I got to ask you about your one season in Sacramento. I know you were just here with the Wizards when you were here, and they put you up on the big board when you're broadcasting, and they acknowledge you, which is great. It's like once a king, always a king. But your year, what a unique roster you guys had. If I remember right, it was obviously Cousins and Collison, Rudy Gay, Rondo. It was just a hodgepodge with George Karl as the coach. What is the memory or memories you have from your 1 year in Sacramento?
And you know what? It's a bunch of things that I can pull away from it, but There's so much going on in the world right now that, I'm going to stay as positive as I possibly can. Just people, like the fan base, and like the game that you just played prior to me coming on, the introduction from the fan base, people understanding the professionalism that it took to be in that space at the time, and so many uncertainties and confusion. And if you're a Sacramento Kings fan, you know what was happening at that moment and at the time. But through all of it, remaining professional. Those brothers, DeMarcus Cousins, Rondo, Darren Collison, all there's people that that's connected to me for life. For numerous reasons. We had to police each other. We had to talk to each other. We had to lean upon each other all season long. And that was my most trying job as a vet that year. And not being able to play as much. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But it still worked out. Peja, Blotty, they gave me the resources that I need. Beck, great owner. Me and him had numerous conversations, and for me to come back and just receive that ovation, that meant a lot because, like you said, once a king, always a king. They show you love, and I felt that in that moment.
That's awesome.
Speaking of, sorry, Jason, just speaking of meaning a lot, I wanted to do this for the guy on our text line. Caron Butler is a special individual. This is a guy that went to a 16-year-old surprise birthday party in D.C. and insisted that the team not cover it to make sure the gesture was sincere and not some PR stunt. And there's stories about that with Caron throughout his career. This guy on the text line says, Caron, my son went to a game with his grandfather, and Caron gave him some of his signed shoes. I never got a chance to say thank you to Caron. So could you guys please tell him thank you for me, please? So thank you. And, that's just you, dude. You're a real one.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And you know what? That did mean a lot to me. And I remember that birthday party, the pizza party. And also, I've done gestures like that all the time. It's not about, cameras and stuff like that. I know that we live in a social media era right now, and everything has to be recorded or put up. Otherwise, it never happened. But, those things do happen all the time. And it's a lot of genuine people out there that's doing it for the right reasons and not trying to move the needle or be clickbait or anything like that. So I appreciate those individuals reaching out and just paying homage, because that means a lot to me.
Well, we appreciate you. You're one of those truly good guys. Caron, thank you so much. Best of luck. Stay safe, and we hope to be seeing you sometime soon.
Likewise, brothers.